For decades, Bulgaria's railway system has been stuck in the past, with aging trains and outdated infrastructure. Recognizing the urgent need for change, Bulgaria aimed to modernize its outdated railway system and bring it up to European standards. The ambitious plan was to acquire a fleet of new electric trains designed to enhance travel efficiency, reduce delays, and offer a more comfortable experience for passengers across the country. But this vision wasn't just about upgrading trains. It was about boosting the national economy, creating jobs, and improving daily life for thousands of Bulgarians who rely on rail travel. To make this vision a reality, a public tender was announced, inviting global companies to compete for the contract to supply 20 state-of-the-art trains. The project, valued at $660 million, represented one of the largest investments in Bulgaria's recent history, promising to transform the nation's transport landscape. This initiative was also crucial for Bulgaria's deeper integration with the European Union, connecting the country more closely with its neighbors. Launching the tender marked a major step toward a brighter, more connected future for Bulgarian rail travel, with hopes of faster, safer, and more reliable journeys. It was a bold statement of Bulgaria's ambitions, with significant funding and support coming from the European Union to help realize this dream. The entire process was carefully designed to ensure transparency, fairness, and equal opportunity for all bidders, reflecting Bulgaria's commitment to good governance. The world watched with anticipation to see which company would win the prestigious contract and help shape Bulgaria's rail future. The stage was set for a transformative deal, one that promised a smoother, faster, and more enjoyable journey for everyone who travels by train in Bulgaria. With hope and determination, Bulgaria was ready to leap into a new era of rail travel, embracing innovation and progress for generations to come. Bulgaria's train contract attracted two major players. Spain's Talgo, a respected European train manufacturer, submitted a competitive bid. Then, China's CRRC Qingdao Xifeng offered a shockingly low bid. Their price was nearly half of Bulgaria's budget, raising questions. The Chinese offer was tempting, promising huge savings, but it also raised suspicions of unfair competition. The EU worried about state-backed companies undercutting European firms. This situation became a test for Europe's trade policies. The Chinese bid triggered alarms across the continent. Was it fair competition, or something else? The massive price gap put the process under scrutiny. The EU decided to take a closer look. The stage was set for a major conflict in European trade. The European Union was taken aback by the surprisingly low bid from China's CRRC, a major player in the global train manufacturing industry. This raised significant concerns among EU officials about potential unfair subsidies provided by the Chinese government to its companies, which could distort the market. In response, the EU's foreign subsidies regulation was introduced, aiming to ensure a level playing field and fair competition across the continent. The Bulgarian train tender became the first major test of this new regulation, setting a precedent for future cases. The EU was determined to prevent companies with unfair advantages from winning lucrative contracts, ensuring fairness in the bidding process. The European Commission viewed this as a critical moment, a chance to assert its commitment to fair trade practices. It was an opportunity to protect the integrity of the EU's single market, a cornerstone of its economic policy. The message was clear and unequivocal. Companies must compete fairly or face serious consequences. The FSR was designed to shield European industries from the threat of unfair competition, safeguarding jobs and innovation. The decision to investigate was about more than just trains. It was about setting a standard for future trade practices. It was fundamentally about defending fair trade and ensuring economic security for all member states. The EU was resolute in its mission to protect its market from any form of unfair practices. The Bulgarian deal was indeed a pivotal moment for European trade policy, marking a new era of vigilance and fairness. The European Union launched a high-profile investigation into CRRC's bid for a major contract, drawing attention from both European and international observers. This was the very first time the EU had invoked its new foreign subsidies regulation, marking a significant shift in how it handles global competition. The EU's main concern was whether generous Chinese government subsidies allowed CRRC to submit such a low and competitive bid, potentially distorting the market. As a result, CRRC was required to fully disclose any financial support or hidden advantages provided by the Chinese government, opening its books to European scrutiny. The investigation quickly became both complex and intrusive, involving deep dives into financial records and intense questioning of company officials. CRRC now faced a difficult dilemma. Should it cooperate fully and risk exposing sensitive information, or refuse and risk losing the lucrative bid altogether? This probe sent a clear message. The EU was now willing to challenge major global players and defend its own economic interests more assertively. The investigation was just one example of a broader trend, as the EU began adopting tougher and more proactive trade policies to protect its markets. At the same time, the EU was also launching investigations into Chinese subsidies in other key sectors, from green technology to manufacturing. The high-stakes trade deal became a symbol of the EU's new approach, moving decisively from words to concrete action in the face of global competition. By using its regulatory tools, the EU aimed to protect its most strategic interests and ensure a level playing field for European companies. Unsurprisingly, the investigation created significant friction with China, straining diplomatic and business relations between the two powers. Ultimately, the EU's actions made it clear. It was serious about de-risking from China and reshaping its economic future. Under pressure, CRRC withdrew its bid. The EU's investigation ended as a result. The regulation worked as a deterrent. With CRRC out, Spain's Talgo seemed poised to win, but then, Talgo also withdrew from the tender. The process had become too complicated and burdensome. The tender collapsed, leaving Bulgaria with nothing. Both Chinese and Spanish companies walked away. The project was in limbo, a $660 million failure. Bulgaria's dream of new trains was shattered. The story highlighted the unintended consequences of tough regulations. The process designed for fairness led to failure. Bulgaria was back to square one, with no new trains in sight. The collapse of the tender was a major setback for Bulgaria. The dream of modern trains was on hold indefinitely. The government had to restart the process from scratch. The failure highlighted challenges for smaller EU countries. Bulgaria wanted an affordable solution, but had to follow EU rules. The situation raised questions about modernizing infrastructure affordably. More flexibility might be needed in the procurement process. Bulgarian officials faced a more expensive project next time. The people of Bulgaria were left with broken promises. The story was a cautionary tale about global trade complexities. The EU's rules had real-world consequences. Bulgaria's journey to a modern rail system hit a roadblock. The path forward remained uncertain. The failed deal was a lesson for Europe and its partners. The EU was serious about its tougher trade stance. The foreign subsidies regulation was a powerful tool. CRRC's withdrawal sent a strong message to state-backed companies, but the regulation also led to the project's failure. The EU faced a balancing act: protect markets without scaring investment. The complex procedures burdened even legitimate deals. The incident shaped future EU-China trade relations. Beijing criticized the EU's actions as protectionist. Both sides needed to avoid a trade war. The Bulgarian saga was a new reality of global trade. It was about fairness, transparency, and economic security. The rules of international business were changing.